Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. And through this channel, I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this, this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is to try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades, and we do take into account losses. So for further details about in-depth strategy and also how to join us in the challenge for as little as $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In the previous video, we looked at potential strategies to use in the event of a market crash. Then we also looked at reasons for the crypto crash, as well as an insight into what is happening with regard to some specific cryptos, which we're going to do another update on, and that's ticker symbol LUNA, Luna coin. So before we do that, let's have a quick recap of what happened close of play on the Friday. So as you can see on the screen here, from headline from Reuters, there was a bit of a rally, and many people did expect on Friday the 13th to be another significant red day. However, the good news is the Wall Street did rally. However, overall on the week, the losing streak continues. But the good news on the Friday is the S&P Nasdaq is now up just in excess of 3.82%. The Dow Jones was up 1.47%, and the S&P was up 2.39%. However, in terms of the S&P and the Nasdaq, they have posted the longest losing weekly streaks now in over a decade, and the Dow's longest weekly losing streak since 1980. So certainly times are not good, and it's going to be very interesting what happens from Monday. But I am expecting a bounce, but many people are also expecting the decline in the markets to continue. So time will tell, but fingers crossed that we do get a little bit of a recovery. In today's video, I'm going to be providing an update for ticker symbol MMAT, and also a very important update for ticker symbol BBIG, with some updates also for the upcoming special dividend. So stay tuned for Vinco Ventures update, as well as looking at the key dates, which you do need to be aware of. So let's first of all start by having a look at what happened with Metamaterials. First of all, there was some fantastic news. So I'm going to share with you a tweet from the company here, and the tweet states here: Metamaterials is now announcing the first granted US patent for non-invasive glucose sensing system. So this is absolutely tremendous news. So let's have a look at the information from this from Access Wire, May the 13th, 2022. So you can see the headline here is Metamaterials has now announced the first granted US patent for non-invasive glucose sensing system. So the keyword in the headline that I'm focusing on is first. So that obviously is implying that this patent is unique, it's different, and it could be a game changer. So as well as that, what we can see in here is GlucoWise is something that is a registered trademark. It's non-invasive glucose sensing system and related anti-reflection metamaterial films. Its foundational patent covers the anti-reflecting metamaterial films, which enhance signal penetration through skin and different configurations of the sensing system. So overall, this is great news. So the granting of the patent is in the US, so that's also very important, because if anybody does copy this, it's much more easier and lucrative to take legal action. So this is a key milestone with regard to GlucoWise and the development plan. So Dr. Themos Kalos, who is Meta's co-founder and chief science officer, this is a quote from him. And it also paves the way completely for painless radio wave based glucose sensing system in the US, and this is something that is currently home to more than 300 people in the US who are currently living with diabetes. But I think we have a lot more people across the world and in Europe which would also benefit. Let's now have a look at the chart for close of play on Friday for Metamaterials. So on the screen here, you'll be able to see that the stock did exceptionally well, and this is one of the much better days of trading. So we can see here that the stock was up in excess of 16%, closing at $1.42. In terms of volume, we've had a lot more significant volume, and much more higher than the normal average volume of 3.6 million. So the volume was just in excess of 7.7 million. And we can also see in terms of the RSI, there was a huge interest in buying, and the stock was up at one point in excess of $1.45. So going forward next week, I certainly hope this bounce does continue. But another thing that I think is very important in terms of data from Fintel, if you'll have a look at the short borrow fees for Metamaterials, and what we can see that is interesting here from the 11th of May 2022, the cost to borrow is increasing very significantly, so certainly becoming more expensive for the shorts to borrow. So that's very significant. So on the 10th of May it was just 13%, and then it was moved up to 67%. 12th of May we're looking at 150%, and the latest data from Fintel is suggesting another increase, and now we're looking at 186.88%. so very positive news for Metamaterials. Just before we look at ticker symbol BBIG and an important update for the dates, I'm just going to do a quick reminder of the key dangers with investing in crypto, and also obviously there are similar dangers investing in stocks, but in particular crypto has hit the headlines here. So on the screen here, let's have a look at the latest price time of editing for crypto. We can see here just a few days ago this was trading at $120, and if we look at the price now, it's 0.003778, but that also represents an increase in 361% at time of editing. So extremely volatile, and unfortunately I'd now like to give a shout out to Willie Meatsauce on Twitter. He bought $500 worth of Luna on Webull earlier, 13th of May 2022. His $500 is now worth 51 cents. So again, it's more or less 100% loss. So not good news, but certainly very significant in terms of being aware of the risks for trading in crypto especially. But let's now have a look at ticker symbol BBIG in terms of the key developments. So before we look at some important key dates with regards to BBIG, so one thing I would like to point out that Monday is very significant. It could be a huge day. Not only is it the deadline for earnings, but it's also the final chance potentially for people who have not invested in BBIG to qualify for shares for TYDE. But let's also have a look first of all at a significant form that was submitted. On the screen here we can see that the company submitted a 14A form to the SEC. So let's have a look at the details of what this means. So on the screen here we'll be able to see the important information here with regard to what the company have shared with the stockholders. And what they've said here is that there is going to be a meeting held, and in this meeting they're hoping that in this special meeting of shareholders there is going to be a proposal. In this proposal they're hoping to increase the number of authorized shares for common stock from 250 million to 750 million. So this is a proposal to improve or amend in terms of their restated articles of incorporation to increase the number of authorized shares for our preferred stock. Why is the company doing this? Let's have a look at some details why we can pick this up. But before we look at the details in the second part of here, one thing I'd like to point out to you here at the bottom in the second part I've highlighted in yellow, and the company have stated here the board of directors has fixed the close of business on May the 27th 2022 as the record date. The record date for the special meeting. Only holders of record of shares of our common stock on the record date are entitled to receive notice of the special meeting and to vote. So you must be a shareholder on this record date. It's very important to be aware, May the 27th, in order to participate in this vote. So you will have a chance and an opportunity to either vote for or against this proposal. So let's now have a look at the final part of the form, and I'm going to try and pick up here the reasons why the company are making the proposal to increase the number of common stock. So what we can see here in the final part, highlighted in yellow for you, is they're looking to raise funds for the company, and that will allow them to meet their capital needs. So obviously the company have stated here that they're looking for significant increase in the amount of cash in order to help them continue and become successful. They've also stated at the bottom it's important for the ongoing business of the company, and they are needed to fund the business strategy. So obviously the business wants to be successful, so for long-term purpose and long-term point of view, this should certainly benefit the company, especially for growth, especially for continuing their ambitions and their future potential. And on the screen, first thing I'd like to remind you is in terms of what the company have stated in their press release at the bottom here, and they announced that basically May the 18th has been set as the record date for the dividend of shares of common stock to be distributed to Vinco stockholders, to the effect that separation of Vinco and TYDE into two separately trading companies, both of them on the NASDAQ. What they've also stated here further down is they're looking at for each Vinco stockholder of record as of the close of business on May the 18th to receive on the distribution date 1 share of TYDE for every 10 shares of Vinco common stock held. So the one thing that I think the company have not clearly stated here is basically what is that date in terms of when you need to hold. But what they have said is that this will be distributed to Vinco stockholders on or about May the 27th. So there isn't full clarity in this statement, and I'm going to share with you one of the responses from Webull that one of the members in the Discord has received. So you can see on the screen here the response from Webull. They've said, "Thank you for reaching out. When it comes to spin-offs, the X date is the most important date. If the client sells before the X date, they will not get the shares. In some of the situations, you would receive a special time released by the stock company. We have not received any information regarding the X date of BBIG." So this is what Webull are saying. They have not received an X date. So again, that's quite significant. You would need to wait until that time to sell your position at the earliest to be eligible for the spin-off. Thank you. So the advice from Webull here is to wait. So this is creating a little bit of confusion. So let's see if we can clarify this situation. I'm sure many of you are aware of the T+2 rule. However, in this situation, I've had to look at Investopedia and the section here called special considerations. So on the screen here, I think this is potentially important, especially for people looking to qualify for the dividend. So let's have a look at what we get from Investopedia under this section, special considerations. So it states here that a company may pay its shareholders a dividend in the form of stock shares rather than cash. So that is something that is applicable to BBIG because we are not receiving a cash dividend. We are receiving shares in the form of TYDE. So that's why this is applicable in our situation. So let's carry on with this. So it also states here, the stock dividend may be additional shares in the company or shares of a subsidiary that is being spun off. So that's what's again happening with TYDE. The procedure for stock dividends may be different from cash dividends. So I think this is where some confusion is taking place, and some people are thinking obviously the company's dates that we looked at earlier, 16th to 18th, that may be the case with a cash dividend, but we are looking at a stock dividend. So what it states here is the ex-dividend date is the first business day after the stock dividend is paid. And this is also after the record date. So that's very important. So what does that mean now for the key dates that you need to be aware of? On the screen here, I'm now going to be sharing with you some important key dates. So first of all, Monday the 16th of May 2022, it looks like you will have the opportunity here to buy BBIG because obviously you have to hold 16th to the 18th, so 16th will be the last day. If you buy on the 17th, unfortunately you will not qualify for TYDE, so Monday is the last opportunity. Second thing here is the record date is 18th of May, and that is going to decide who gets TYDE. So if you are holding from a minimum of 16th, or you already have the shares and then you hold them up to the 18th, then that will be the date that will be decided who get TYDE. However, there is another date that you need to continue to hold, and that is in green, and basically you must hold BBIG after the distribution date of the 27th of May. So we've just seen that date important in some of the documents released by the company, but the company have not specifically stated that you have to do this. So that's what is causing a little bit of confusion. So you have to hold through the 27th, so that basically means you shouldn't be selling on the 27th. So in other words, you have to hold through to 27th, which basically means the 28th. And then finally, you can sell BBIG on the next working day. So obviously we have a weekend to take into account, so the next working day will be the 30th of May 2022. And one other thing I'd like to point out, again, all information shared here is for entertainment purposes only, and also is based on my own personal opinion. So everybody making their own decisions, obviously you are expected to carry out your own research and your own due diligence before making any decisions. But let's move on now to have a look at the latest data that we get from Ortex with regard to BBIG. And I think the significant figure here we can see on the screen is the latest cost to borrow. So again, the cost to borrow is increased. We're looking at 165.38%, and the average is also quite significant, 85%. So again, very interesting there. Let's now finish off by having a look at the latest information with regard to institutional investment. So just to finish off here from Fintel, I think something that is exceptionally significant here is a report from Fintel stating that Morgan Stanley have reported a 41.18% increase in ownership of BBIG, Vinco Ventures. So again, it's also very, very significant when institutional ownership increases, and that is a sign of confidence in a stock. And at the bottom, we can also see that other investors with positions similar to Morgan Stanley include Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Victory Capital Management, UBS Group AG. We also have Tower Research Capital and Carroll Financial Associates Limited, Incorporated. So again, a significant amount of institutional investors here for BBIG. And finally, in terms of any potential strategy in dealing with this, again, I think that the stock has been under significant short attack, and we've not seen the significant run up that many of us may have expected in the previous week. However, from Monday is the last chance to buy, so there is a potential here that shorts may be covering. There is a potential here that the stock could run up. In terms of your own personal decision, you have a number of options. You can hold for the shares, you can take profit, you can sell out completely. So again, an individual decision. So I will also be monitoring my own personal decision on BBIG on the Monday. And if you would like to get opportunity to discuss live trading, you can join our Discord for as little as $9 a month, where you also get the opportunity to chat live, ask questions, as well as that you can take part in the challenge. Details are available in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.